beautiful Tuesday morning. Of course, the last Tuesday of the month of January 2025. And it's so good to have you join us on our Gate Television. It's Newspaper Headlines Review. I'm Fanan Kwano.
Good morning. My name is Shido Taka. It's good to have you join again on Newspaper Headlines Review.
Well, remember, you can join us the show via social media handles, Facebook, Agate Radio and Television. We are also live on radio because it's a simulcast of Agate Radio Television. So you can listen to us on 95.5 megahertz in the frequency modulation band. And also you can join us on www.agateradio.tv.com. We are also live on YouTube, Agate Radio Television. And that's indeed a very, very beautiful morning to be with you. And there we have in-house analyst who has always been here to give us perspectives to national, local, and international issues. And it's Mr. Tibi Akasi. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here again.
All right, we have a lot of papers to review this morning, and then without wasting much time, we're heading straight to Chido. Tell us what we have.
First paper this morning, and of course, when you said January is gone, I said so far so good. And of course, a lot of people say it wasn't as tough as any other January.
Some people have said it's the fastest January in the history of January.
January's ever. Okay, let's go to our first paper today, Punch newspaper. Fenifere Khan, that's the Christian Association of Nigeria. Others oppose push for Sharia in Southwest. And then regional focus should be on debt, not religion, says Yoruba group. Muslims, Christians differ. And then National Conference, federal government restates commitment to better Nigeria. That's in the Punch newspaper this morning. Also in the Punch newspaper, gospel singer pleads not guilty to killing Nasrawa copper. We also have Dangote refinery to receive 12 million barrels of U.S. crude, says report. And then Faro Timi Afenifere, Obi Hail Afe Babalola for withdrawing defamation suit. We also have this one. MDA's spent 16 billion naira on Ester Code compensations in 2 years, says budget. And Lagos Assembly plans to probe Obasa for fraud. Obasa is gone, but not gone, because they are not leaving him alone. And then PDP crisis uncertainty as NWC members shun Southeast meeting. And then EAT EFCC collaborate to recover 86 billion. That's 6 billion, beg your pardon, $6 billion, and then 66 billion naira crude proceeds. That's also in the Punch newspaper. But the banner headline, which is a story we'll be talking about first, Afenifere Khan, others oppose push for Sharia in Southwest. So the argument is that we already have our laws. So why bring in another law to guide the people? And then the religious leaders are saying this is our freedom to do our own religion the way we see best, suited for us. You can judge your own cases the way you want, but we are here to judge our own cases the way we want. But Chief Akase, what do you think about this?
Well, you see, it's quite unfortunate that in our country, the things that should matter don't matter. We place on the front burner things that shouldn't be the things in focus. Religion is a matter of choice, and the Constitution of our country has given people the right of association, including religion. I am a Christian today. I may choose to become a Muslim tomorrow. That is provided for by the Constitution of this country, right from time, not just the 1999 as amended. So when people make religion to become an issue, it's quite sad. Nigeria is battling economic hardship. People are some people now, even to go to church. There's a school near my house, and that school has a lot of population. It's a nursery primary school. People move their cars, take their children to that school and take bikes take Okada back home and keep their cars in the school premises.
We
So
always
that
wonder.
when it
This
is
is
time,
serious.
because it is better to take the kids in a car because of the danger of carrying them on Okada. So because of fuel scarcity, because of the
harsh
expensive
economic
nature
realities.
of fuel now, people are economizing. They move their vehicles to the premises of that car, drop their children, and keep the cars there, and go back on Okada. Then when it's time for closure of closing hours,
They bike.
they bike back to school and take their children in the cars and go back home. So these are issues that should bother Nigeria, and not the issue of Sharia or whatever religion. The people of the Southwest, like any other part of this country, are free to belong to any religion. I don't see why that should even make a headline in the newspapers, because it is, we in the media will spotlight things that shouldn't ordinarily be there. If Punch had not made this a headline, it wouldn't be in national discourse, because the constitution is very clear, as I have said earlier. So I don't see why certain people should be forcing down a particular religion, down the throats of other Nigerians. It's unacceptable.
Chief Akase, but then there are people that think
Yes.
Religion is part of the things that interest us. And,
You just took my
and
thought.
it
You
has to
just
do
took my
with
thought
social-
away.
You see, I don't want us to discuss this religion thing too much.
It's okay.
Nigerians pray more than any other country in the world. Yet, Nigeria is categorized as one of the corruption capitals of the world. So we go to church or we go to the mosque, the church on Sunday, the mosque on Friday, and pray and cry, and we give God the responsibility to do everything. And God has provided us with one of the most gifted lands. We have arable land. We have a lot of things that God has provided for. We don't have a natural disaster so much in this country. Yet we say God yes, God has asked us to pray for him continuously, but that doesn't mean we should abdicate. We should leave our own responsibilities as human beings. We pray so much and we are so corrupt. We are so negligent of things, basic things that we should be doing. This is not correct. So I don't think religion. So look, a country like China, they don't prioritize. There are churches. There are some churches there
Surely.
and some mosques there, but
Surely.
you don't see them making that something that will become a problem, a national problem, because it is you and your God. On the judgment day, I will be judged as Teve Akase. Fane Kwanum will be judged as Fane Kwanum. Shido Taka will be judged as Shido Taka. And we are not going to hold our hands and enter the kingdom of God. All right?
Surely.
So this is to say that religion is purely a personal thing. So we shouldn't, Nigerians shouldn't, leaders and religious leaders and political leaders and economic leaders and whoever leaders, they shouldn't make it something that other people will be held to ransom for whatever reason. That's the point I'm making.
All right. Let's move to the next headline here that wants us to take a look at. The National Conference, federal government restating commitment to better Nigeria. We talked a lot about the National Conference. It's about time, right?
We have been speaking, we have been talking. There was a national conference in 1995 which produced a beautiful document as a draft constitution that would have ended half of the problems of this country. These issues that we are now discussing, of resource control, the issues of rotation of presidency, rotation of governorship, they were captured in the 1995 draft constitution, which the Abacha administration brought Nigerians, prominent Nigerians, of experts in different fields, and they gathered in Abuja and came up with that document. Abdulsalami Abubakar, who took over from Abacha, whether he wanted to make history for whatever reason, I don't know. He refused to look at, or perhaps someone advised him that if you adopt the Abacha draft constitution and make it the constitution of Nigeria by 1999 when he was leaving, then Abacha would have taken the credit. I don't know. I have no idea why he decided to abandon that constitution and went to the 1979 constitution, dusted it, changed a few things like the what do you call it? The addition of states from 19 to 35 or 36 now, and the issue of derivation, 13% derivation. These are the only new things. What we have now is the 1979 constitution, almost word by word. I have read the two. They only changed a few things and the year that it was passed, enacted. Now, if Abdulsalami Abubakar, the head of state then, had looked at the Abacha draft constitution and critically, if there were a few things he would have changed, the issue that we are having today, where governorship is that the people of Zone C in Benue State, for instance, are justifiably asking for the rotation of governorship to them. This could have been taken care of by that constitution. It was provided for. The presidency would have been moving naturally if it is in northeastern part of Nigeria. It is moving to maybe northwest, to north central, to southwest, to southeast, to south. It would have been natural. That was provided for. But the Abdulsalami jettisoned it and dusted the 1979 document, changed a few things and passed it as the constitution of Nigeria. And that's why we're having these problems. So talk shops have been held over the years. Nigeria's problems cannot be solved, but if it is ideas, you have so many ideas wasting away in the books, in the document. Look at the 2014 confab that President Jonathan did. Beautiful ideas. I mean, I was in Abuja then, and we in the media had the privilege of having close contact with the people, some of the delegates, and you could hear beautiful presentations and these things, those suggestions. And then he comes up with, hey, you have to hold a national conference. How long are we going to talk? How long are the talk shops going to continue? The solutions are there, wasting away in the books. It's not a matter of ideas. Nigeria has some of the best brains in the world. And if you assemble them, they will give you exactly what you need. So the issue is not that of ideas. The issue is that of the political will to tackle Nigeria's problems.
Well, we're hoping that with this restatement, we could actually get to
we may have so many more national conferences, but as long as the leadership of this country is not ready to address the concerns of Nigeria, for instance, the presidential system is so expensive. Imagine a minister having how many aides? So many aides. A commissioner having so many aides. And so much more. You look at National Assembly members. The Senate has 109 and the House of Reps, many people there. And all of them, they have aides. I know that the House of Reps member has 4 legislative aides that are paid for by the National Assembly, by the too expensive for this country. And these are issues we are saying, look into these issues. I saw a story on health. Maybe when we get there, we will talk about it. How the withdrawal of U.S. support to Nigeria's health system is going to affect us, and so on, because we have abandoned the things that we should be doing.
Right. Okay. Okay. Fine. Then let's move ahead.
The willpower to implement some of these recommendations. The Justice Idris Kutigi's recently led national conference in 2014 had a lot of them. And then we do hope that the present leadership will read them, and not only that, implement them.
Surely.
That takes us to the Nigerian Tribune. 13 million more Nigerians at risk of poverty this year. And that says a report. And that's one of the things we're talking about. Court asked to stop Tinubu National Assembly from sacking Umar as CCT chairman. Tinubu APC, and this is coming from Peter Obi. Amotekun arrest 300 suspects in 3 months in Ondo. All right, and then we have Ondo 2025 budget, hefty allocation to lawmakers despite hardship. Edu declares Nigeria's electricity sector open for investment. Court restrains agents from arrest 30 million more Nigerians at risk of poverty this year.
I think the number is more than that, Fane.
Okay.
I think the report is being mild. If you have Nigeria is the rest of the 207. Are they rich?
You start by checking yourself.
Are rich? That's not true. I think that report should be the reversal of that report should be the case. That 237 million Nigerians at risk of being poor. That's what should be. Because how many people? Now, how many people you can call?
Perhaps maybe the presidency wants to take.
I disagree with that report.
By the policies.
How many people live by? How many people in this country get an average of 5,000 naira a day?
How many people?
How many? That's a question. So that's the national average. If you are living below that, I mean you are not getting up to that. It means you are living below the poverty line. Go to the villages and see what is there across Nigeria, not just in one state.
Even in cities.
Yes, some people cannot. For 1 week, they have not seen 2,000 naira in this country. It's not just in one state. It's in many states. So when you come up with such a report, and you say 13 million Nigerians, you should at least raise that to 150 million, and then we can begin to look at it and say, okay, maybe you are making sense. For me, that's the way I look at that report.
Okay, there's another issue here. Counts mean out of coalition against Tinubu, APC. And that's what be saying that ahead of 2027. We've not got to that time yet, but
well, the
drums
drums are already sounding. And
so, what do you think of this? What do you think of this?
That's politics. It's interesting, but I love Peter Obi's style of politics. He's a man of principle. He's a man of his words, and I have admired him from a distance. He's one Nigerian that I'm not campaigning for him. He's one Nigerian that has, over the years, been consistent in terms of his beliefs, his political and economic beliefs. And if he's saying now that nobody should mention him in any alliance, any measure of whatever sort,
major,
that's beautiful. Because Nigeria cannot survive by majors. We have tried a mega party, the APC. Since 2015. I don't know if Nigerians are better for it. That is for the rest of Nigerians to decide. If the mega party, the major that came about in 2015 and has been in power since then, has provided the solutions. So Nigeria's problems, Nigeria's solutions do not rest in political measures of whatever kind. Because as far as the political ideology of this country, which is chop, make I chop, remains, then the problems cannot be solved as easily as some people the permutations are showing. Because measures in many cases are done for power grabbing purposes. And once the power is grabbed, those people who became bedfellows for the sake of grabbing power begin to fight within themselves. And the main reason why they should have taken power is abandoned, which is to provide good life for the people. So I don't see measures. Well, for those who may be going into measures, they're just doing that for the sake of grabbing power, as I've said, for this stand that people shouldn't join him. If he's going to contest again, he should contest as a person. And I do not agree with this idea of measures. As far as Nigeria's ideology remains the same, for grabbing power and for the sake of it, just for the sake of grabbing power.
Okay, and then the argument here by Atiku Abubakar, he says state capture makes democratic change nearly impossible. And then that's what you're trying to drive at there. Yes. Okay, usurpation of state institutions threatens democracy, former vice president of Ghana. Away from that, Edun declared Nigeria's electricity sector open for investment. we are still here again because from a public company, the NEPA, the NEPA to the PHCN, and then we are here where we are today. Would you say there has been a remarkable difference?
No, that is what it is the same thing. As long as the ideology, the economic ideology of this country does not change, we may change NEPA's name to whatever. I still call NEPA anyways. We may change it to Power Providing Commission or Authority of Nigeria, Power Supply whatever of Nigeria. As far as we do not reform that sector, right? We should deregulate electricity in this country as well. And the steps that the present government is beginning to take are fine if there is sincerity by allowing states to begin to regulate. That's distribution. You can generate, you can transmit and distribute. When we allow private people to come in, that will also be a big step. Because if, for instance, we have like 3 companies supplying electricity to Benue State, and one of them is charging so highly, then the other one decides to drop its cost, its tariffs. People will join the one that is providing them at affordable rates. That's what competition does. So as long as we do not change our ideology. Now, Nigerians go to China and ask Chinese companies to provide generators that have Nigerian names. And those things sometimes come with poor quality. That is because there are some people who don't want electricity, public electricity source to work in this country. Because as long as they are providing, they are supplying imported generators. Big generators, small generators, as long as they are the ones, there are big people who are in this business. They are billionaires who are in this business. And some of these people sponsor parliamentarians. They sponsor people to go to the National Assembly and state assemblies where laws are made. So anytime you attempt to change the laws to allow Nigerians to breathe, these people will call those they sponsored into the National Assembly and say, so is that what you people have gone to the National Assembly to do? Is that what I asked you to go to the National Assembly to do? That's the problem of Nigeria. Because the money bags will sponsor people into the National Assembly and make sure that you'll be shocked to see that some of them have like 10 House of Reps members on their ticket that they sponsored. And these people go into alliances and provide and make sure that certain laws are not changed so that they continue to hoodwink, they continue to manipulate the Nigerian people and extort from them. So as long as the ideology remains the same, grab, make a grab. When they are sitting at that table sharing Nigeria's money, there is no division on religion. No one knows whether this one is a Muslim or a Christian or a traditionalist. No one knows whether he is from Benue or he is from Kogi or he is from Lagos or he is from River State.
Of course, that's the only thing
they don't
that
care.
Nigerians.
No one knows whether he is Igbo or Hausa or Tiv or Idoma or Yoruba. They don't, at that time, they don't look at those differences. It is when they come, they want to come and campaign. That's when they tell you, look, you don't have to vote an Igbo man. You don't have to vote a Yoruba man. You don't have to vote that Tiv man. Because at this time, they want to manipulate the people and get the votes. But when it is time for sharing the cake, they do not differentiate. So until the ideology is changed, our economic ideology, our political ideologies are changed to be sincere and look at, bring back nationalism, the spirit of nationalism into Nigerians. And that is the only time we will begin to get things right. Because what we are seeing in the energy sector, whether it is power generation or it is oil, the oil sector, those are the basis of Nigeria's economy. When there is no power, every business is in darkness. When there is no fuel, people can't move. So they are the main the basis of the economy of this country. And that is where people have interest. And that is where they will continue to manipulate to make sure that they have control, while the rest of Nigerians continue to suffer.
And then talking about energy generally, recently there has been this shift in paradigm to alternative sources of energy, such as solar, which various governments have been, particularly the government of President Tinubu has been canvassing for. So how do you think states can be able to tap into these to better power for their own citizens?
It's a welcome development. Alternative sources of power, many other countries have since gone ahead. So, but it goes back to the same thing, as I've just explained here. There are some forces who are benefiting from the bad system.
The big boys.
That they don't want a change. They will tell you, solar system, you can't depend on that. If you talk to them about other sources of energy, they will tell you, nah, we just have to continue. So because they are benefiting. But change is the most constant thing. And who says when you change for the better, the same people cannot benefit? It's just for them to embrace the change that has come. So, and move with it.
Chief Akase, you've been talking about this change. Yes. So perhaps those that are enjoying this would just wake up one day to say, no, we want to have a change, or we want to have a repent. There are measures that will be taken to drive them into this change. So what do you think can be done to push this change forward?
The change will come when our electoral system improves.
Okay.
When the voter gets his or her power, that is when the vote
truly counts.
When the vote begins to truly count. And people who are elected, whether they are in the executive as governors and presidents, or whether they are in the national or state assemblies, or whether they are chairmen or local governments or councillors, will begin to be afraid and begin to do the right thing. That is the only time the change will come about, when the vote begins to count. That is when like now it is counting in Ghana. Our neighbor is counting already. Ghanaians have taken their power. It is counting in Kenya.
I would like to hold you now. Yes. We'll continue just after this break. Okay. We'll take a break now to be back in a moment.
Keep watching Agate Television.
Keep watching Agate Televisions.
Big shout out to Agate Television, Sky's your limit.
Keep watching Agate Television.
Keep watching Agate Television, one of the best in the whole city of Makurdi. Peace.
Hello, my people. Keep watching Agate Television. Watch out for more.
Agate Television. We love you.
Special shout out to Agate Television.
Agate Television. You're the best. Shout out. Peace.
Shout out to Agate Television. I love you. You're the best.
Best channel. All the fun, the live shows, the best of the best you can get.
Agate TV, one of the best rising televisions in North Central Nigeria, which everybody should actually look out for.
That's a very difficult question because I spent 14 years there. Nevertheless, I think my best 11 would include Samuel Adingingo, number 2, John Agu, number 3, Afioma Sylvester, number 4, Felix Pilakia, number 5, Samuel Elijah, number 6, Benedict Ogu, alias Rugede. Number 7, James Neto. Number 8, Tefak Bako. Number 9, Dominic Iofa. Number 10, my humble self. And number 11, Kolade Abejide. This is my best ever PCC First 11. I don't need to think about it. Shadu Amadu is the all-time best coach of the club.
Welcome back. You're still on to Agate Television. The program is Newspaper Headlines Review, and it's also on radio 95.5 megahertz. You can also view and listen to us across our social media handles, Facebook Agate Radio TV, YouTube Agate Radio TV, also www.agateradiotv.com. All right, with Shido Taka, and our analyst is TV Akasi. A seasoned media analyst, as he's been here with us. All right, so TV, before we took the break, you were talking about driving the change in the power sector, how the big boys would be pushed to accept change for the betterment of everyone.
Yes, I was looking at the overall change, whether it is political or economic, and I said it is when the vote begins to count. When Nigerian people take power, that is when they know that we are voting for this person and this is our choice. Then people will begin to be afraid when they get to power because they know that they can be voted out when the next round of elections come. So that is when the change, the real change that we desire, whether it is in the economic sector or it's in political or it's whatever, we begin to come. And that is, we have to improve on our electoral system. INEC should step up the gear and make sure that their systems do not experience another glitch. I don't understand why we have network coverage in Nigeria, in almost all parts of this country now. GSM network is everywhere. And when it comes to voting, INEC will say their networks cannot cover everywhere and that they're having a glitch. And they have been doing off-season elections in some states. We never experienced that glitch. But when it came to the presidential election, there was a glitch. So INEC must...
So people argued it or traffic.
INEC must improve on their systems and make sure that the 2027 elections are truly, truly credible.
The question on my mind is, so if we say the systems are not working in certain places, why are we still using them?
That's the question. That's the question, because, and that's to tell you that there has not been enough, people are not sincere. So when the vote begins to count, then people who are in public offices will be afraid of the power of the people.
Yeah, sure.
That is the only time we will begin to get it right in all sectors of the economy of this country.
Okay.
All right. I wanted to also touch, before we head to the next paper this morning, I wanted to touch on the fact that you said there are alternative sources of energy or power or electricity. And I'm beginning to, wonder, as many other people will wonder, how affordable these are. These are still for the big boys, right? Because
but look at,
when you start thinking about alternative solar.
Look at solar.
Yes. How affordable
Look at solar system, for instance. I know how much I've spent on petrol.
Yes.
In the last 2 years or so. Let me say in the last 1 year. Or just take 1 month. I use at least 20,000 naira on petrol every day. Because in my side of town, there is epileptic supply of public source. And I regret why I didn't go for solar system. Because if you have solar, if you have money to buy the ones that the capacity that can power your fridge and your AC and all, that is luxury anyway. But if you have minimally, you can still power your bulbs, your fan, and be living your life. You can charge your phone, you can watch television. So you have no worries of buying petrol every day like I do. So it is more afford if you can afford, if you can buy, you can afford the panels, buy it and fit it. I mean,
the question is if you can afford.
But you see,
yes.
Someone who, for instance, who is working, whether in the public or private sector, there are some of these things can be acquired by, by installmental payments.
Okay.
Maybe you go into an agreement with the person selling, and part of your salary is paid into it monthly.
Exactly.
At the end of the maybe 6 months or so, you'll be able to pick that material.
Well, as we just to say,
it won't even be out of place to say they are giving us subsidy in this kind of thing.
Exactly. That's what we're saying. So if we say alternative, then we should definitely have the discussion of affordability as well. Let's move to the next paper this morning. That is the Guardian newspaper, and this discussion, the health funding, others yearly. And this is coming on the heels of the U.S. president saying they are going to halt foreign aid for 90 days. And of course, just to give you the statistics, the highest sum of aid, that is $1.16 billion, was spent in 2022 in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. And then we had $767 million in 2024. Okay, we'll ask the question of where the aid was going to. That's one question.
That's it.
Yes. But more headlines here in the Guardian this morning.
Let's tackle this when the thoughts are still fresh.
Right?
When the thoughts are still fresh.
Right, okay.
US, 15% of the entire budget.
Is so rich that we shouldn't be depending on handout bank and all that. I mean, WHO and so on. What has happened over the years is corruption. Allocations are made yearly in the budget of this country for health. Billions of naira for health. Now you go to public hospitals. Take federal medical centers. You know, the where university teaching hospitals of the federal government were not there, they established federal medical centers to fill up the gap. That's the essence of that. Where you had university teaching hospital, for instance, in Jos, already there's a university teaching hospital, so there was no need to establish the federal medical center. In Makurdi, there was no federal teaching hospital. That's why they established the federal medical center here, and it happened in other states. Now, go to these hospitals, whether it's the university teaching hospital, federal university teaching hospital, or the federal medical centers. You won't find many of the doctors there have their private hospitals. They only go there to secure their salaries. Many of them, I'm not saying all of them. The nurses as well. So the system has been corrupt. When cases come to the public hospital, which should be charging less, they refer those cases to their private hospitals in town, where they go and charge exorbitant prices. And these people are on the federal payroll. But how would you blame them? You will not blame them because the rot has started at the top. And I'm not referring to the Tinubu administration. I'm referring to the successive administrations of this country. Over the years, budgetary provisions have been made for Nigeria's health. But we depend on the US for handout. We depend on United Nations for handout. We depend on the World Health Organization and the World Bank for handouts to tackle our health challenges. When there is an outbreak, when Ebola came, that was where we became, you see, everybody will be carrying a file up and down. Then they set up committees Those committees are emergency committees. That is the only time you see what do you call them? These people, this disease control agency.
NCDC.
Yes, that was the name.
Nigeria Center for Disease Control.
Beautiful. Anytime there is an outbreak, you see them every day on the news. You see them everywhere. And a lot of billions are pumped into that agency. But the moment that pandemic is gone, you will never see those people. They are supposed to be educating Nigerians on how to prevent health challenges and so on. But you will never see them. But once there is an emergency, their day don't come.
Well,
so when we are depending on the United States, for instance, Trump, I commend President Trump. I am his supporter. I am his fan. 24/7. Yes, whatever he's doing in the U.S., that is America. He is the president of America. He is not the president of Nigeria. So Nigeria cannot be getting so angry here that Trump is withdrawing funding for Nigeria. We have enough money to make our hospitals to attract health tourism from other countries. People should be coming to Nigeria for treatment. Not we going to Ghana, going to Cote d'Ivoire and other countries for treatment. Those countries don't have they don't have a quarter of the money that Nigeria has. Yet we move from here to go to those countries for treatment. So the problem is corruption, number one, corruption, number two, and corruption, number three. It's as simple as that.
We had suggested on this program the other time that maybe we should embrace what China is doing to, place capital punishment or corruption. Maybe things will get better for us.
Okay, let's move to another headline in The Guardian this morning, and that is Shettima blames democratic failure in Africa on complex pressures. And then road crashes claim 5,421 lives in 2024, up by 7%. Tijaniya Maulud, please insists terrorists escape to Cameroon. IEDs recovered in Kano. And then 2027, more hurdles for opposition as Obi Oni prevailed on Babalola to drop defamation case against Farotimi. Let's take a look at this one. Shettima blames democratic failure in Africa on complex pressures, right? And he's talking about past and contemporary challenges like endemic poverty, insecurity in many countries of the continent. I know Chief Akase has mentioned the fact that our electoral system needs to be checked. The corruption needs to be checked. There should be sincerity by the government as well. But here is the Vice President talking about past issues, contemporary challenges.
Just to add to that before he picks on it, sometimes what gets me interested in these matters is that the people that know them and speak about them also have a say.
Right.
They also have a part to play in shaping or making things better. But then they would rather offer statements, during their oratories, speaking in public and all that. So it gets me wondering, is there any hope for us or the generations in the future?
It's a problem. We love to trade blames. We love to pass the buck. We love to say, these people, the past government failed to do this. The past government did not do this. The past government... But you are there now. You are there. You are there as the governor. You are there as the president. You are there as the chairman of local government. What are you doing currently? What are you doing? If the past government failed to do this or do that, that was why people voted you. Because you promised that you would do differently. You would bring change, positive change. So why are you still blaming the past government? Now, for the vice president, he's an orator. He loves to speak good English, and he speaks really well. I love to watch him speak, whether at home or in the diaspora. He's a great guy, a great man. But on this matter, I disagree. We should be telling the world what the Tinubu administration is doing. Not passing the buck, not saying, these people didn't do this one didn't do. No. Well, you are there almost 2 years. Yes, this is the message. This should have been the message. Africa might have got it wrong in certain areas, but we in Nigeria, we are already taking steps to correct this thing as far as it concerns Nigeria. That should be the message.
As a matter of fact, the president is now the chairman of
ECOWAS. Nigeria has been in the leadership of ECOWAS for how long I can't remember. It's like ECOWAS. Nigeria is like almost a permanent president of ECOWAS, permanent chairman. So, but what are we making with it? Are we leading how are we leading the African sub-region? I'm not referring to this government in particular. Over the years, what have we done? We shouldn't just be that giant on paper. We should be the giant by stamping out corruption, by evolving reforms that affect lives positively in terms of health, in terms of education. It's for the years, the United Nations has been querying Nigeria on the issue of allocation to education. Because the minimum is 25% of the annual budget of every United Nations affiliate country. That's the standard. But have we been allocating even 20%? Over the years, we have not. So that is why the lecturers, ASU, anytime people criticize ASU, I say, no, you are wrong. University teachers, the university lecturers. You criticize ASU. ASU has not been have not been asking for money to be paid to them alone. They have been asking for improved educational system, especially as it affects the tertiary system. Make the classrooms good. Make the laboratories good for students to go there and not just sit and study theory. They should be studying practical so that when they go out, if they are medical doctors, for instance, when they go to the field,
they know what to do.
They will know what to do. So That's what ASU has been. And I'm always supporting ASU on this matter because they have been calling for that overhaul that gives a facelift to the Nigerian tertiary education system.
I know we're running out of time, Fane, but he mentioned ECOWAS, and this headline just caught my attention, and something we can just talk about briefly, which is the EU telling ECOWAS to find new ways to coexist with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. And, these three countries have, walked away from ECOWAS. I don't know, Chief Akasi, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, as I've said, ECOWAS has been a toothless bulldog over the decades. ECOWAS, apart from the time ECOMOG came into being and restored peace in Liberia and a few other countries, especially in Liberia, I have not felt the impact of ECOWAS that much. This is my personal opinion. Nigeria, who has led ECOWAS for years, in my estimation, has not provided that leadership that we should have provided. Because many West African countries trust Nigeria so much that by the way, the headquarters is here. Right? So we should be leading ECOWAS in a way that we say, okay, what is our agenda for year 2025 as ECOWAS countries? We should make sure that rice production in West Africa is not imported. That should be what, those are the things that ECOWAS should be talking about. What about health? Are we going to look at vaccines? When are our experts in the pharmaceutical industry going to be supported by ECOWAS to produce local vaccines for West Africa? These are things that should concern ECOWAS, not just about leading troops to go and fight wars. No. ECOWAS is economic community of West African states. Economic. Right? Is it not true?
It's true.
So the name is self-explanatory. It's clear.
Okay.
Lead West Africa economically. Let the people see the benefits. If West Africa is going to supply rice as a staple food for the rest of Africa. Let West Africa lead that, and Nigeria should be the champion of that cause. It's as simple as that.
All right, let's head to sports. So we'll try and round off today's edition. And we have lots of intriguing sports stories here. Unfinished business, Dazzles wants Rangers stay. Okay, Chukwueze bound for Milan exit. I'm always in title, and then there's a contention at Desonia. All right, so but the biggest of them, Joseph the Dreamer. Yobo backs Nigeria to win 2025 AFCON as Eagles draw Tunisia, Uganda, Tanzania in Group C. So
I'm happy that Nigeria was not drawn with Mali in the same group, because we have a Malian coach. Yes. So if we had drawn Mali in the same group, then his loyalty would have been tested. Yeah. But well, I think it's a group that is tricky. Tunisia, Tanzania, and
Uganda.
Uganda. People may think that Uganda and Tanzania will be the whipping boys of that group, but I disagree. We may be shocked. And I see Tunisia being if the Eagles can get their acts together, you'll be shocked that Tunisia may not even take second. Because these so-called small teams in Africa are no longer small,
right,
as people used to tag them. And we saw that in the last Africa Cup of Nations, when the likes of Congo DR and others sprang surprises. So anything is still possible. And I like the group, because as usual, Nigeria will go to bed. The only big team in that group is Tunisia. And Tunisia may not even be the big problem for Nigeria. It may be Uganda, surprisingly. Because there are no small teams anymore in football. So it's
in any case, we see hope for the best.
Joseph the Dreamer, they said.
In order for the cricket, Nigeria I-2027 World Cup after missing Malaysia semis. But that's it. That's where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Newspaper Headlines Review on Agate Television. Thank you very much, Shido Taka, who has helped me on the journey so far. Thank you very much. Hope to see you next week.
Right.
And analyst Terry Akasiwi, thank you very much for your insights.
It's my pleasure.
All right, that's our program for today. Do join us next week, Tuesday, for another interesting edition. I'm Fan in Quantum.